A federal high court sitting in Abuja on Monday ruled that Rivers State owns the disputed Soku oil wells fields located in Akukutoro local government area of Rivers State. In a judgment in a suit number FHC/APJ/CS/984/19, the Attorney General of Rivers State versus National Boundary Commission, Justice Ian Eko of the Federal High Court declared that after examining all the documents from relevant government agencies and facts before the court, the Soku oil wells fields belong to Rivers State. The Federal High Court made an order compelling the National Boundary Commission to rectify forthwith in the 12th edition of the Administrative Map of Nigeria, the erroneous interstate boundary between Rivers State and Bayelsa State as contained in the extant 11th edition of the Administrative Map of Nigeria. The court declared that the continued failure and the refusal of the National Boundary Commission to rectify the admitted mistake in the 11th edition of the Administrative Map of Nigeria since 2002, which erroneously showed St. Bartholomew River instead of River Santa Barbara as the interstate boundary between Rivers State and Bayelsa State, is a breach of its statutory duty and a flagrant disobedience of the order of the Supreme Court contained in its judgment delivered on 10/7/2012 in suit number SC 106/2009. Justice Eko declared that the continued reliance on the set defective 11th edition of the Administrative Map of Nigeria by the other government agencies, statutory bodies, especially the Revenue Mobilization, Allocation and Fiscal Commission and the Accountant General of the Federation, in the computation of revenue accruable to Rivers State from the federal account has resulted in the continued unjust denial of derivation funds accruing from the Soku oil wells fields situated within Rivers State to the detriment of the state government. The court also ordered that pending the formality of compliance by the National Boundary Commission deeming the administrative boundary between Rivers State and Bayelsa State to be River Santa Barbara in accordance with the admission of the National Boundary Commission as per letter of 3/7/2002 and the definitive order of the Supreme Court made on 10/7/2012. Justice Eko granted the two reliefs and directed that notice be served to the decision of the court in the Revenue Mobilization, Allocation and Fiscal Commission and the Accountant General of the Federation. The court said that the National Boundary Commission cannot unilaterally delineate the boundaries between Rivers State and Bayelsa State after the Supreme Court judgment on the matter. The court also dismissed an objection to the suit raised by the National Boundary Commission, which it said is lacking in merit. Following the failure of the National Boundary Commission to obey the Supreme Court judgment on the Soku oil wells, the Attorney General of Rivers State filed an originating summons at the Federal High Court in Abuja through suit number FHC/ABJ/CS/984/19 to ensure the enforcement of the declarative judgment. Counsel to the Rivers State government, L.E. Wosu SAN, described the judgment as a victory for the rule of law in Nigeria.
As a matter of fact, the judgment just delivered is a victory for the rule of law in this country.
He noted that there was an admission of the error by the Surveyor General of the Federation and the National Boundary Commission, where in the 11th edition of the Administrative Map of Nigeria, the boundary between Rivers State and Bayelsa State were wrongly relocated from River Santa Barbara to St. Bartholomew River. He said the Supreme Court, based on the admission of the National Boundary Commission, declared that it was an error and ordered the Commission to rectify that error. He regretted that by the error, the 13% derivation meant for River State were wrongly paid to Bayelsa State.
There was an admitted error by the Surveyor General of the Federation and the National Boundaries Commission to the effect that they mistakenly relocated in the 11th edition of the map of the Federation, administrative map, the boundaries between the Rivers State and the Bayelsa State. Instead of putting it as Santa Barbara River, where it has always been, they put it at Santa Bartolome River. As a result of which, the River State went to court against the Attorney General of the Federation and against the Bayelsa State Attorney General. And the Supreme Court, in their wisdom, made a finding based on the admission in writing by the National Boundaries Commission that it was an error they made. And the Supreme Court ordered that they should go back and rectify that error. They refused to rectify it. In essence, they appropriated the oil wells in Soku field and gave it to the Bayelsa State, thereby paying over the 13% revenue accruing to River State from derivation to the Bayelsa State. And in defiance of the Supreme Court's order, the defendants, the National Boundary Commission, failed to rectify their own admitted error. The River State Attorney General decided to take out an action to seek the enforcement of the order of the Supreme Court of Nigeria, which was the essence of the case that came up to court today.
He stated that the declarative judgment of the Federal High Court is in the right direction, as it will check any results to self-help over the injustice.
And His Lordship has managed to restate the supremacy and the bindingness of the orders of the Supreme Court on all government organizations and all courts below it. And that's the essence of this judgment, without which there would have been bloodshed or possible interstate acrimony. The law ought to take its good course at all times if this democracy must survive.
The senior advocate of Nigeria said that the Soku oil wells fields have always belonged to River State, as admitted in writing by the National Boundary Commission.
It has always been. There was a serious error admitted by those who are supposed to delineate boundary to alter that boundary and give an unfair advantage to a state that is not deserving of appropriating those wells.
Thank you. Counsel to the National Boundary Commission, Titilayo Ibironke, acknowledged the judgment of the court.